everyone, this is Gayle, and today I'm going to play with the RJ Crafts Tiki mask, silk screen, and also the cutter that comes with it. It's something I've been wanting to do, and I've decided to go ahead and give it a try. Now right now I have some clay. I have translucent, and I've got 2 sheets of translucent. I have white, I have ecru, and I have white and ecru mixed together in equal portions. Now these are rolled out to the thickest setting of the pasta machine, but I'm going to take the pasta machine down to a 3 and roll these through again on a number 3, which is the 3rd thickest setting on the pasta machine. Okay, now the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to start combining these layers, and if I combine more than 2 rolled out to the thickest setting, then I can't roll it through my pasta machine to make it any smaller. So I'm going to set my pasta machine back on the thickest setting, which I have a Mercado Atlas, so it is, the thickest setting is a 0. And I'm going to take the white and I'm going to lay a piece of the translucent on there, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 2 ecrus, the light and the dark, and let me just do that. I'm going to roll these 2 through on the thickest setting. And I'm going to roll the white and the translucent on the thickest setting. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this translucent and put it on, no, I need to roll this through a little thinner is what I need to do. I'm going to roll this one down to a number 5. I shouldn't have done an odd number of layers, but I did, so let me just... So I'm going to lay this on top of this layer, and I'm going to trim off the extra. It's not much, it's just a little bit. I'm going to roll this through the thickest setting again. Except I was rolling it through on the number 5, which I shouldn't have done. So what I'm going to do, that's going to work out fine. I'm going to cut off the thin section that I rolled through at a number 5. So now I've got these 2 together, and let me roll this through. But my last translucent is on top. And that's going to be important. Okay, and it got a little distorted here on the end, so I'm just going to take that off. Get rid of these clays. Alright, so now I have a layer of ecru, the ecru in white, translucent, white, and translucent. Now this is going to be, let's see how long this is. This is 12 inches. So it's going to be about 19 inches. So I'm going to need, what, 9.5? Is that about right? Let me find the 9. I covered it up. 9.5 is this line. Let me see if this yep, that's about the same. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece with the ecru on the bottom. I'm going to turn it over and make sure that ecru is laying on top of the translucent. And again, I'm going to roll this through at the thickest setting. Let me just cut off this end because it is a little wonky. That's a technical term. To show you what we've got, I don't know if you can tell or not, but you can see here we've got some very thin layers, and I do believe I want to go even thinner. So I'm going, again, measure this. That's 12, 18, which is just about where I was before. I'm off just a little bit. And again, I'm going to take the side with the ecru and lay it on top of the translucent. And I'm going to run it through again on the thickest setting. And you notice I'm not worried about the ragged edges because those are going to get trimmed off as we go. So I'm assuming that this is also going to be 18 inches. So I can divide this into, let's see, 18, half of that would be 9. Let me go ahead and do that, rather than confuse you with my calculations. I calculate a lot in my head. I'm going to lay this on top. So now we're at 9 inches. So I'm going to cut at 4.5, which is half of that 9. I'm going to lay that on top. And then I'm going to cut again at 2.25 and stack it again because I want a pretty thick slab here. And try to get it as even as I can so I don't have to trim off but so much. So let me just trim off this side. And you can see what we've got. So they're very thin stripes. And some of them have gotten a little crooked, and that's okay because that gives it a good look. I'm also not going to trim the ends yet. Actually, I need it a little bit thicker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it this way, long ways. So that's right on the line. That's on 2 inches. So excuse my hair, but I need to see the 1 inch line. And I don't want to put the 2 ecrues together, which I almost did. And the reason for that is if you do that, you're going to end up with a big dark line inside of it. So make sure you always put your ecru next to your translucent. Now I'm going to press this together. And I'm going to try reducing it a little bit without distorting the ends too much. What I want to do is make it a little narrower here. And because it's going to make it pretty long, I will be trimming these ends off. But that's okay, because that's going to work better. So I'm going to reduce this down. I'm going to roll it with the roller on all sides. And I'm going to pull it a little bit. And I'm going to roll it again with the roller. And I'm rolling it to make it longer. Okay, I think, let me get my cutter. See how big this needs to be. I want to make sure it's going to be wide enough, and that's just the right size. So I'm going to just cut this in half, only because I'm going to be able to get 2 slices out of it. So this is about 4 1/2, so again 2 1/4. Now you set it up on end. You can either have your ecru top side up or the white, the translucent side up. And you need to slice this, but because this has got so much translucent in it, it's a little soft and mushy. So I'm going to let this sit for a while, and then I'll come back and we'll make our slices and go from there. I'll be right back. Okay, I have got my slices all done, and you can see, or maybe you can't, let me zoom in just a little bit, but you can see little imperfections here and there, but that's okay because I want this to look like wood, and wood is not perfect. Neither is ivory. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and cut off the bottoms of these. I want to make sure I don't do more than what I need for my cutter. Just to so I don't have, I can get them closer together, because I want to do the silk screening. And I'd rather not do them individually, but I don't know if I can do them all together or not. We will see. Well, this one's kind of thick. I may have to roll this one a little bit because it's a little bit thick. I used my Lucy slicer, but for some reason, it must either have been the beginning or an end of a cane. But I'm holding on to my scraps because I'm going to use that. Or here's the other. This one's a little bit thick too, so it must have been that slice and this slice that were next to each other. So I will just make those a little smaller. I think if I just cut off these raggedy ends, I'll be okay. Now I'm going to try, let me see how my silk screens are placed. I'll just do it on top. If I do this one, okay, I can get those two done at the same time. Putting the raggedy side up at the top. So I can get these two at the same time. So they just need to be spaced out a little bit. Let me go ahead and just roll these out a little bit just to flatten them out. They were just a little bit too thick. So that one I'll put there. I should have looked at this to see if this is the shiny side. I could just leave them on here. So if I put these together with about 1/4 of an inch in between, I should be okay. So let me just place this up here and use my grid to measure. Just to make sure they're going to be where the silk screen is going to be. This one is right on this line, so it needs to come over that line a little bit. Goes this way. And let me see how these line up. That was the shiny side. Okay, that's going to work. So I'll just line these up right underneath. I think that's the way it was. Let me just check to make sure. Yeah. And take the shiny side of the silk screen, and you can tell that if you look here, you can read rjcrafts.com. This is silkscreen 65. If you can read that, then you know you've got the right orientation for your silk screen. Actually, these have a little bit of difference in height, so I don't want to make sure that they're the same so the silk screen will stick to it. Don't want to leave any gaps. And, oh dear, I forgot I put away I always keep my dark brown paint here. But today, the other day I was cleaning up and I put it away. So just 1 second. Luckily it was still out on the... Let's see, this one is right at the edge, so I better move this one over just a little bit. There, that's better. Rather than have you watch me get these lined up, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off and I'll be right back. Didn't take but a second. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. Whoops, I just threw my paint into the trash can. Just wanted to shake it up a little bit. Now this is burnt umber. This is just folk art craft paint. I'm just going to put a bead of paint, and that's much more than I need. I'm going to use an old Amazon gift card to scrape it across and make sure that all of your silk screen is covered with the paint. And then just wipe it off, wipe your card off, and you can use it again. I use mine a lot. Now look at that. Are they not cool? But I am going to run into the kitchen real quick and put this in some water. I'll be right back. Okay, while I'm waiting for this to dry completely, I did find one where the two pieces still were not level and paint pooled right here instead of being dragged off because the other piece was here. So all I did was color it in with the brown paint, and I think in the long run it's going to be fine. But it still needs to dry a little bit more. So what I'm going to do here, if you see, I took all the scraps and I put them into, just started mixing them up and running them through the pasta machine. This is the ugly side and this is the pretty side, and this is what I think I'm going to use for the back part of the bracelet. So I'm going to turn it over to the ugly side, and I'm going to cut out 8 of these, and these are Rhonda's new cutters. So you see there's no residue left around the edges at all. These are wonderful. They would do even better if I was cutting on glass, but since I'm on the plastic, because I want to be able to move them, I'll do the best I can. As you can see down here, there's the back side. There's nothing, no residue there at all. So, Rhonda, you did good. Both of those sides look good. I think I'm going to turn these over to that side. I'm having the bad side up, and that one didn't come out because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I was looking at the other two. So remember, the bad side is up. Because you want the pretty side to show on the bottom. I think that paint ought to be dry by now. Acrylic paint dries really quickly. 5, 6. This is 7. And 8. I can move this out of the way. Now I'm going to lay these in sets of 4 and try to get them even. I'm going to line them up on my using my grid. And the reason I need them lined up is because I'm going to use these little rods to use. I'm going to press this into the clay to use for a space for your thread to go, your whatever you're going to string them on. I'm going to use a stretchable cord. So those look like they're all lined up, and I'm going to come down to here and press this into the clay. And let's see if I can get the same thing coming up. Again, excuse the hair if you see it. Doesn't look so great today, so I don't know what you're seeing. And then I'm going to do the same thing with these 4. Just try to keep them lined up the best you can. Because you don't want your holes to be crooked. That makes the whole project look bad. So just find you a grid. If you don't have a grid on your work surface, find you something that you can draw some lines so that these will be straight. Then I'm going to do the same thing on these. I'm going to come about, let's see, how far did I come? That was 1 and a little bit more. So there's 1. Excuse, I'm going to have to turn these around so I can see. Excuse me. Because you want them to be the same space as these. So it was 1 block and then just a little more, so that puts it about right there. one block and a little more is like right there. So that should work. Okay, so that's going to be the backs of our tiki beads. And I'm leaving these on the paper because I want to be able to pick them up, because these are going to be placed on top. Let me go ahead and put it on the glass. Now this cutter leaves just a little border around the edge. So you have to kind of, again, excuse the hair, have to kind of look inside and press down and just give it a little wiggle. And there's our first bead. Isn't that pretty? And I'm going to line this up on this one. Just make sure that they are in the right place. Then press it down. And when these come off of the, after they're baked and they come off of these rods, you may have to trim a little bit to get them even. But you can see why you have to make sure that they're dry, because you're pressing on it with your fingers. You could take a piece of patty paper if you wanted and burnish to make sure they're down all the way. Just as long as your paper is dry. So let me do the second one. And I'm not going to make you watch all of my cutting. I just wanted to show you a couple. Just look inside, line them up, and cut. I'm loving Rhonda's new cutters. She had gotten some complaints from people saying that it left too much residue, but she has changed the engineering of these. And these cutters, these edges are very, very thin now, so it's almost like having a metal cutter, except it's plastic. But then line this up again, trying to get them even. And press it down. You just want to make sure it's adhered all the way through. And you just repeat this for all of them. So I'm going to turn the camera off while I finish this, and then I'll be back. Okay, I have them all together. This is the one that I messed up. Don't know if I'll need it or not. Depends on how I decide to put this together. It's possible I might want to put some beads in it. So what I'm going to do is take these scraps. Actually, I'll just take it from this thing here, from the rest of this. I'll put these aside. I've got something in the oven right now, so I can't set those in the oven just yet. But I'm going to get my circle cutters. And we'll cut from this side so I can see what I'm cutting. And I'm going to cut one little circle, and I'm going to roll that into a bead. And I do believe I have some bead pins somewhere. Here they are. I'm going to take this and just put it on my bead pin. Look at it from all directions and make sure you're going in the middle. And I'm going to make enough of these to put, let me pull it up, to put between each of these if I need them. I may not need them. If not, I'll just have some bone beads that I can use for other things. So I'm going to make, let's see, I'll need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So I'll need 16. So I'm going to go ahead and make those and bake everything, and then I'll be back. Just wanted to step in here for a minute and show you how I was going to be baking these little beads. I do have a bead rack, but I'm making the assumption that not everybody does. So what I did is I took the little scraps of clay that were left after I cut out the tiles, rolled it into a ball, formed it into a rectangle, and cut it into 6 pieces. And I have each one of these little bead pins stuck, one on each end, and it keeps it up off the floor of your oven when it's baking. So I just wanted to show you that before I put it in the oven. So I'll be back. Okay, my pieces are all baked, and I'm just kind of loosening them from these knitting needles. Let me see if I can hold on to both of them. There we go. You see they come off real easy. And I didn't even think about this until after I got this far, is I don't have access to my my elastic cord. It is packed away somewhere in a box because of my impending move, and I couldn't find them yesterday. So I don't have the things that are available to actually make this into a bracelet. Sorry, it's just trying to get these off. Goes that way. That's all of them. Okay, so I've got all of them off, except I lost my other rod. Where did it go? Oh well, there's a rod laying around here somewhere. But I also have these little beads that I made, and so what I'm going to do, when I might have to go out and buy some more elastic cord if I can't find my other, because if you could see the way things are packed up in my craft room, you would feel so sorry for me. But all of my paper products, you know, from my card making, all of those are packed up. And, you know, so everything is just really in a disarray right now. And I apologize for that. You shouldn't have to suffer for me. But I did want you to know that what I plan on doing is, first I'm going to sand these. I'm going to put these, and I might not use that one. I may not need it. And I'm going to put beads in between. Let me just give you an idea what it might look like. I also haven't decided what to use as a finish, because I don't want a shiny. If this is supposed to be like ivory, then I would rather have a matte finish. And I did buy, I've got some liquid varathane, but that's a gloss. I've got spray varathane, and that's a gloss. And I have some satin glaze that's Sculpey. I don't know, I haven't used it in so long, I don't even know if it's any good. It looks like it might work. But that's still going to be, a satin is still going to have a shine to it, so I'm not really sure. So what I'm going to do is put the bracelet together when I get my cord. Of course, these will be on the outside. And let me see how long that is. That may be too long. I won't know until I get it on a string. Because this is almost 9 inches and I only need about 8. So if I remove one, I don't know which one it would be because I like all of these. I think this one is similar to one of the others. So if I only use 5 or 6, I think I would use these. But I'm sorry I can't finish the project. I wish I could. I would love to. But check out, oh, there's my other rod. I knew I'd find it. It had to be here somewhere. But check out the RJ Crafts website and look at all the cool stuff that she's got. And now you've been able to see that her cutters, I got clay on them, but her cutters don't leave as much residue anymore. They're awesome. It's got to be the best cutters I've ever used. So thanks a lot for watching, and if I get this done, which I don't know if I will, I'm getting ready to go on vacation for a couple days. And I don't know that I'll get a chance to get this done get a picture done before I go on vacation, but I am going to go ahead and post this anyway. So thanks everyone for watching, and have a great day, and I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.